Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the United States, and I'm here with a second card as part of our Woohoo Weekend. Here we go again. I'm going to show you the card, and as you can see, it's very different from the first card we did, but it uses the same Heartfelt Hexagon bundle, but it's a very different card. So I am actually starting again with a basic white card base. And we're going to cover up the front of it. I do like to do that. So that is what we're going to do. So I've got a piece of gold foil paper. And what I did, it's the same size as the card front. So 4 1/4 inches by 5.5 or 10.5 centimeters by 14.9. And you can see it's cut out. That's just because I didn't want to waste all of the paper because it's going to be hidden. So what I did was I used the perennial postage dies and I cut out this for the front. And so you're using a scrap, but it's basically first layer size. So or at least in inches, it's first layer size. So it is 4 inches. You need a piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, or I believe this is right, 10.5 centimeters by 14. And so what I did was cut it out. And I had a longer sheet, and so then I used my trimmer to just cut it here because we're actually going to use this for the inside, to decorate the inside. And I have a tip for hopefully getting it to go in easily and be straight. So we'll use this for the outside and this for the inside. And so then what I did, this is a larger die from that perennial, or what is it called? Perennial postage dies. And then I used the next size to cut the gold to be sure that it would be hidden underneath, and that this would be big enough. So hopefully that makes sense. And this I'll just use on another project or to punch out other things or die cut other things or whatever. So, and then what we're gonna do too before we start assembling is I'm gonna take that hexagon die again, and hexagon punch, sorry. And all I did was reach it down as far as it would go and center it on the left and right. Make sure it's all the way to the back there, yeah. And punch that out, and we're going to use this too. Pretty much no waste in this project. So we're going to put this on, and for this I am going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue since it's the same size as the card front. And I want to make sure it's lined up properly. So we're going to use the glue. And so then that goes on the front. Just line it up. And again, it was the, I used the largest die to cut this one out, and then the second largest for this one. And we're not going to put this on yet because we are going to bump it up with some foam adhesive strips, actually. So I think we'll take this before we start our stamping and we'll put it on the inside. And again, I need my glue because the way I do it so that it lines up and isn't all wonky on the inside is I put glue about 1 inch or maybe 2 or 3 centimeters down on the sides and across the top. Because you want just enough glue that it's going to catch. It's pretty strong. You don't need too much, which is nice. So that should be it. And then we're going to line it up at the top like this. And making sure that it's even around all 3 sides. It's got an even border. And we wait a few seconds for it to catch. And now I'm going to put more glue on. And you don't need it down completely down the sides. You just need enough so that it's going to hold it in place, because you're going to put some across the bottom, and that will help as well. So I'm just scattering some dots of glue on the sides. And then we'll put some along the bottom, like that. And then you just sort of let it follow like that. Let it fall because it should be straight. And then we'll hold it for a couple seconds to let the glue catch. and then it's straight and it's done. And this we're actually going to put on this side. I really like doing something over on the left side, and I don't do it very often. Sometimes I stamp, but when I saw this, I thought that's what we're going to do with the left side today. And then for the inside sentiment, I have with sincere sympathy. So this is a sympathy card this time. And I'm going to bring in my Moody Mauve ink pad. And we'll ink that up. And put it up here, again, lining it up with the grid on my glass mat. And then just one more thing for the inside. I've got one more stamp that comes from that same Heartfelt Hexagons stamp set, and it's a flower. So we're going to put that here like this. And I'm also going to use it to decorate the front of the envelope. So I'm going to grab that, ink it up once more, and then that goes on the front. And then I'm going to leave that envelope handy because we're actually going to decorate it a little more. And I'm going to smooth this out here. And now for this part, what I did was I laid it down here and stamped it without actually adhering this. You could kind of do it either way. So I hope this is going to make sense. But let me show you one more time my tip for getting the stamp the right way for punching. And I'm going to do it this way just because I can see it better. I'm going to lay it right in that space. And then pick it up with my block. And that should be good. And then I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to eyeball where it needs to be centered. And I just think it's easier to do this when it's flat rather than after you bump it up. That's why I'm doing it this way. And we're going to put it right in the middle there. Hopefully this works on camera. Yep, I'd say that worked. And then we're going to take our sentiment. I can move this out of the way because it doesn't matter. It mostly worked. And then I've got my sentiment in the middle. Because I think it's going to be okay because the paper's going to kind of hide it a little bit anyway. So I don't think, well, it shows a little bit. Or I can come in with my marker. I may do that too and just make the little line there, and I think that will fix it. I think that's what I'm going to do. So the next step, of course, it worked fine on this one. You know how that goes. I didn't have any trouble at all, of course. But I'm going to bring in my foam adhesive sheets. We're going to put those on the back. And I like using them when the surface is big because it's just easier because it covers a bigger space more quickly. It's easier even just peeling everything off. So I do love these foam adhesive strips. Grab another one. Then taking the paper off is much easier because there aren't 100 of them on here, which there would be if I used the dimensionals. You would have to use so many, and I just find this to be quicker, a little more efficient. And then we recenter it on the card. Yeah, I'm definitely going to use my marker to fix that. I think I can do it. That fine tip's going to come in handy. And then the last thing for the card is some bling. And I've got the Adhesive-Backed sparkle gems here. And I just used these. I think they're meant to be like champagne colored, but I thought they were close enough to gold that it would work. So we'll scatter some around. And then a little one up at the top. Draw your eye around the card. And then that is it for the card, but we do want to, like I said, add a little bit to the envelope. So I'll show you what we're going to do. I haven't done this in a while either. I have another strip of the DSP, and this is 2.5 inches by 6, or if you're in metric to fit your envelope, it should be 6.5 by 16.2 will be enough. You have to make sure it's big enough so that it's going to cover the flap. So that's what the measurement's for. I'm going to grab my glue one more time. And I just put it around the edge of the flap and line it up at the top and on one side. So I found that's the easiest way. Press it down so the glue can catch a little bit before we cut off the excess. And so I'm just taking my paper snips and cutting around the edge. And then we've got a pretty envelope that matches our card. And that is it. That is project number 2. I hope you like it. Thanks so much for joining us on our Woohoo weekend. Oh, and so let me show you too. I remembered again, the Heartfelt Hexagon stamp set. I'll bring that in this time in case you did not see my first card. And then of course the punch that coordinates with it. So you can use it for birthday and wedding and sympathy, to give a gift even. I love it. And then I use the perennial postage dies, which go with the perennial lavender suite. That is my favorite suite in the catalog. So lots of different sizes. Like I said, I use the largest one to cut this out, and then the next largest to cut out the gold. And then the paper, I use the Forever Love Specialty Designer Series paper. And most of it is actually pretty peacock in gold. And so these are the papers. And then there's just 1 or 2 that come in the package. 1 design, 2 sheets of the Moody Mauve. And then some coordinating paper on the other side. Love that. So again, beautiful paper, and you know, the paper obviously gives it a completely different look, but that is it for today for me. That is card number 2, and I hope you like it. I hope it gives you some ideas. Okay, thanks for watching today. Happy stamping.